Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show, where we cover everything in Lower Afton with the Chuckey-Doak Black Knights football team. As always, I'm joined here with Black Knights head coach Billy Kaylor. Coach, how we doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's Labor Day. You got any plans today?
We go home and play with the kids.
I'm going home, editing these, and resting the entire day, but I think it's what Labor Day's about.
That's right.
You get a day just to kind of relax, rest. You had practice early this morning.
Yep.
Currently 10:43 by the time we're recording this. Hopefully get out of here by 11. Let you just rest the entire rest of the day until you get back at it tomorrow. But let's talk about Friday night a little bit. Grainger went into Rutledge looking for your third straight win over Grainger. Tough opponent. I think they looked much improved after last year.
For sure.
Fell by the wayside by the score of 42-21 in that game. Take me through it. Talk about some of the things you liked and some of the things you wanted to work on.
Well, you know, they're big. They were really big, really physical up front. I thought our kids played hard, which we were proud of that. But, you know, we just made too many mistakes. We were we got frustrated defensively and started to misfit some stuff. We got, you know, trying to make plays and then misfitting things offensively. Particularly early in the game, you know, we moved the ball well. We just couldn't get out of our own way, and we did some really good things, particularly on offense. And at times, defensively, you know, we fit stuff right and it looked good. You know, you look at the first play of the game, they ran buck, which is what they killed us on later in the game. We fit it perfect, tackle for no gain. As the game went on, they wore on us a little bit, and we started to misfit stuff, and, you know, it didn't go so well. But a lot of stuff to improve on. Played really hard, and a game like that, you get down, you see your kids keep fighting, it's a good thing.
And even though the score might look a little lopsided, at one point during the fourth quarter it was 42-7, but if you were there like we were the other night and you watched that game, it wasn't a butt whooping like it looked like, because a lot of times you were stopping them in the backfield. You had, I think, 3 sacks total on the night.
Yep.
A lot of the times that they got the ball back and scored, it was off of your own turnovers, and they benefited off of that. Without those turnovers, I think it's a much closer game than that. And a lot of their drives that they had to go on and score, they weren't quick drives where it took 3 plays, 80 yards, and they're in the end zone. Right. They were long, methodical 3 to 4 minute drives where they would have a few chunk plays, but they'd have a few where they'd go for no yards, or you'd get them in the backfield for a tackle for loss. So how happy were you with the defense? Even though they did allow 42, they allowed less than they did last week against Unaka and kept them on the field longer to give your offense a rest. Yeah,
I mean, we did some good things. You know, we really did. Like I said, you know, there's 2 turnovers in the first half, and then we had a drop. At one point, we were 1st and 10 from the plus 27. Then we drop a snap and we recover, and then we put the ball on the ground. And you know, we had multiple scoring opportunities. We were really moving the ball on offense and shot ourselves in the foot, and that makes it tough on the defense. They did, like I said, we did some really good things. There's definitely some improvement there. We just still got some work to do.
I want to talk about those scoring plays too. You had 3 that ended up amounting to 21 points. The first one was the most electric of the night. Yep. You didn't even get on the field for an offensive snap yet before you got to put the first 6 on the board.
Yep.
They put the first touchdown on the board. They were up 6-0. Then Skylar Davis takes it 82 yards to the house for a kick return touchdown. That puts you up 7-6. I love watching the video that I took also because I didn't have time to walk over to the opposite side of the field to get him scoring from the side that he was receiving it on. I was behind him the whole time. Well, I like that view a lot better because when you see yourself on the sideline too, as soon as you notice he's gone, you just lift your hands in the air. You're like, hey, he's got it.
That kid's, he's going to be a special player.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of ability, certainly very explosive. So it's exciting to see him start to make plays early and see what we've got for the next 3 years after this, the rest of this season and the next 3 years.
Are you more comfortable having him back there too, receiving kicks and receiving punts?
Yeah, I mean, he does a really good job at it. You know, you put 11 and 19 back there between Dominique and Skylar. I feel pretty good about either one of those guys returning the ball. So it certainly, you know, it's a lot to put on a freshman, but he's proven he can handle it, obviously.
Sometimes a lot of teams don't have that threat back there in the kick return, punt return game, but I think that's one thing that we've noticed with you all, and Skylar and Dom, of course, also have put everybody on notice so far with what they've done in the Grainger and in the Unaka games so far. So it'll be fun watching not just Skylar, but as you mentioned, Dom back there returning punts and kicks and seeing what they could do to help you all.
For sure.
Dom also had 2 touchdowns. He had 2 all-purpose. He had 1 through the air and then 1 on the ground. One of them went 57 yards, the Dom-to-Dom connection, as I like to call it last week. Dominique Atchison to Dominique Hanlon, 57 yards, and then later, the last drive of the game, you were able to take it inside the 5, and then Dom found a little open grass, ran it in for 4 yards out for a touchdown. Talk about both of those scoring plays.
No, I mean, you know, we ran a pass play there to Dom Hanlon that we'd run a couple of times and had a misfire, had a miscommunication on protection one time. That time we got a decent protection. He was able to step up in the pocket and deliver the football, and unfortunately hadn't been able to do that clean a whole lot and this year yet. and he got up clean and put a good ball where it was supposed to go. He recognized that we had him be on the post and laid it out there. Dom ran underneath it, and it was a great play. There's certainly flashes of what we can do offensively there, which is pretty fun to see. And then we ran a little boot there on the goal line, and he obviously can make plays with his feet, and saw a little green grass and finished it up for us. So I think that was good for him to kind of come back after having some struggles early as an offense. He came back and put two together there. That was good to see.
It's fun watching the Dom-to-Dom connection because we've seen it twice so far. We saw it this week, and, of course, we saw it against Unaka too. And that catch against Unaka in the first game still might be one of the most impressive catches I've seen so far this year, where he went up over his defender and got it. And Hanlon, I think, is another player that you're going to see a lot too that's shown some flashes of greatness. I don't think you've seen him rack up a lot of receptions and a lot of receiving yards so far, but when he does, he's really made the most of it so far.
He's certainly got the ability to make some big plays, and he played a little bit of defense last night or Friday night as well, and has really improved defensively, and really proud of his effort off the ball. Watching the film, grading the film this weekend, he did a really good job trying to block downfield and playing off the ball. A lot of times you get receivers out there and the play goes away, or it's a run play or something, they just kind of chill over there, and he did a really good job of playing through the whole play, so I was proud of him for that.
A lot of times when you take a loss too, it kind of kills the confidence a little bit. That's one thing I think that you talked about winning that first game over Unaka. It boosts your confidence. To win over Grainger would be an even bigger confidence boost. Didn't end up winning the game, but I think what you said, it was a big morality boost scoring those two late in the fourth quarter too, and that'll push you into this week also, where you've got a key county opponent in West Greene. No longer a region opponent after things shuffled 2 years ago, but still an ever-important county game that's very fun for those kids, and it's something that I've always said. I think a lot of times the kids like the county games more than they do the region games because there's bragging rights involved. You get the whole county out there. You're playing against kids that you might have grown up with or played against your whole entire life before. But before we get into that too much and talk about that, we need to go ahead and take a break first. So we'll be right back after these messages to discuss the West Greene and Chuckey-Doak game here on Grassroots Media.
At Corner Pond, the friendly and knowledgeable staff has the experience necessary to help you out regardless the need. Have an item of value you'd like to pawn or sell? Corner Pond can help. They pawn numerous items of value, including firearms, tools, ammunition, silver, coins, and much more. When you walk through their doors, you'll find well-stocked shelves full of electronics, gaming systems, fishing and hunting equipment, car audio and accessories. And don't forget about the room full of guitars and basses and amplifiers, or their outside lawn and garden equipment. Corner Pond is a case knife dealer and carries numerous used knives as well. Stop by and let the friendly staff at Corner Pond help you today at 432 East Bernard Avenue, Greenville, Tennessee.
Pizza Inn's new Right Way Buffet is open and ready for you and your family. Now with new garlic buttery crust and stuffed crust pizza, along with salads and desserts. It's the best part of your day. The all-day, everyday buffet. Only at Pizza Inn Greenville.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show, where we cover everything in Lower Afton with the Chuckey-Doak Black Knights football team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Billy Kaylor. So, finally, for the first time this year, you get to play in Lower Afton.
Yep, I'm excited to come home here.
I'm sure you are, because when you play the first two games on the road, especially with the preseason you've had too, where the only time twice. You had one scrimmage at home. 7-on-7 scrimmages, everything else were on the road. So you finally get to sit comfortably here at home and play a very fun game too with a county opponent in West Greene.
Yeah, should be a good one.
How excited are you to finally, number one, be at home like we mentioned, and then two, welcoming the Buffaloes in here for a fun county game?
Oh yeah, I mean it's exciting to get back home and have our fans here at our place, and Lower Afton's a pretty fun place to play football. So excited to be home and let these freshmen, these young kids get a taste of what it's like to play here. And then obviously you got a county opponent, which matters a lot. It's not, like I said, it's not a region game, but it's a a lot of bragging rights, a lot of pride involved in this. So it's an exciting game for us for sure.
And it'll be good for those freshmen and those young players to get a taste of it too, because that's one thing I tend to forget a lot. Your team's new.
Oh, yeah.
Like very
new.
You look at a lot of those names that are getting talked about, getting published in articles and everything, and there's not many names that you can remember from last year. So it's kind of a brand new environment for them getting to play at home because it's something that they'll get to experience for the first time too. I know it's hard to go inside of a young teenager's mind, but how excited do you think they will be to play at home in front of this crowd for the first time?
I think they'll be pretty excited, pretty fun. You know, a lot of these kids have grown up here and watched games here growing up, so you know, first time they get to come out of the black hole down there and take the field as Black Knights themselves on this field as high school players, and a lot of them have thought about that for a long time. So
what I was going into next. A lot of times when you grow up as you're in elementary school and you get into playing middle school football, you kind of dream about playing at that high school level. And these kids are fortunate too because they've watched some really good Chuckey-Doak high school teams, and they want to be a part of that too. So this will be their first opportunity to strap on the black and gold and play at home.
That's right, and play, you know, start to create some of their own legacy. You know, particularly with the county school, you know, you look at, even though they're not region games, you want to build some tradition in the county as well, not just in the playoffs, but so they get to start setting their own tradition, their own legacy of having a chance hopefully to be, you know, win the county and play at home and things like that. So there's a lot of moving parts and emotions going into playing at home for the first time for a lot of these kids.
Whenever they take the field against West Greene also, it's a team that, well, I would say they played last year, but as we mentioned again, brand new team. A lot of them didn't play West Greene last year, so they don't really know what to expect going into it. But I know you all as a coaching staff do. West Greene's got the same coaching staff. They're a little bit of a newer team also with a few different players shuffled around. But what do you expect to see from West Greene whenever they take the field opposite of you on Friday night?
Oh, they've shown a lot of stuff offensively in terms of formation, so we got to be ready for some multiple offensive stuff. You know, obviously got to contain the quarterback. He's a really good player. Seems to drive a lot of what they do. He can make plays with his feet too, so we got to make sure we contain him and keep him hemmed up. And if we do that and play as hard as we played last 2 weeks, I think we got a pretty good chance to make a good game of it.
What are some of the formations you expect them to show on offense and defense?
Oh, they'll give us some spread stuff. They'll do a little wing over, a little double tight end. They'll trade the tight end in the wing, give you overload look. So they'll move guys around a good bit, give you some tight end trips. So stuff you got to adjust to defensively if you want to stay sound. You know, defensively they'll be a little bit of even front. They like to go even front against two back, and it looks like they go odd front against some spread stuff. So we'll kind of have to monitor and adjust what front they're in, but so we certainly have to be on our P's and Q's to be prepared for them.
So I was about to say, it seems like they're going to show you a lot of different formations. They're not just going to show you a lot of base alignments and stuff. They're going to try to throw you off a little bit. Right. And if there's one thing that I know about West Greene, because we've worked with a lot of their coaching staff in the past, and I know some of them personally, they're not going to open up the playbook just as much yet early in the season. So you might see some new stuff this week. Will you expect some new plays and some new formations for them to throw at you?
Oh yeah, you know, early in the year and you don't get a bunch of tape on people, you always kind of expect to see something you haven't seen on tape. You know, wouldn't be surprised if they brought a fair bit of pressure. They haven't shown a ton of inside pressure on film, but it wouldn't surprise me if they brought some inside pressure and tried to disrupt us a little bit, particularly in the run game with, you know, Hayden, you know, 366. And I think he went for 140 or something like that against Grainger.
I was almost right. I guessed 150.
I think it was high 140s, low 150s. I can't remember off the top of my head, but had another good night, you know.
Absolutely.
So particularly with had caught a really bad cramp there late in the second quarter, and kid cramps up like that a lot of times and messes with him the rest of the game. But he popped right back in and kept toting it. So you know, I certainly expect them to throw us some curveballs. We'll just have to be ready to adjust to it.
That was one thing I mentioned in the first half too. Didn't talk about Hayden any in that first half recap of the Grainger game, but still another great night from him. Didn't get into the end zone, had a few long runs. I know he had one for 59. He had another for 40-plus also. That helped you get into the end zone or get close to the end zone in the red zone whenever one of those turnovers occurred. But another fantastic night by him. I know he might not see this in the second half because he might watch the first half and expect to see it, but love talking about that kid and what he could do on the football field. And even in a game where you play such a physical and tough opponent like Grainger where the offense can't get much going, he still finds ways to break off a few plays.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, you watch him run, and in a couple of those plays we ran, and, you know, we whiffed up front a couple times and had some issues blocking-wise, and that sucker breaks two tackles, and once he gets to the second level, but it's Katie bar to the door. He's he's running wide open and stiff arming guys and breaking tackles, and man, he runs like a man possessed. It's pretty fun to watch.
I got to be beside it whenever he got tackled on the sideline on one of those big runs, and once you see him get to the sideline, I think a lot of football players have that mindset too. Like, you can either just go ahead and walk out of bounds and just take the losses, but no. He plants his foot and he turns forward and puts that shoulder pad down, and they're hard hits too. So if I'm an opposing team, I would hate to try to tackle that kid.
That's fact. That's fact.
Because whenever I saw that happen next to me, I kind of shuddered like, geez.
Oh, yeah, he's going to bring it every time.
If you're one of those linemen or linebackers, you're kind of the same size. But if you're a DB and you see somebody that big and that fierce coming at you,
and he runs bigger than he's not a small kid, but he's not a huge kid either. He runs way bigger than he is and plays with his good pad level, and he's the kind of kid you want toting the ball. He's not going to go down the first hit.
No,
and fun to watch.
He is for sure. And he's one of the players I probably expect big things out of this week too, because if we've seen anything last week from the Cloudland-West Greene game, Cloudland had a very potent running attack against West Greene, so that'll work in Hayden's favor a lot too. Going back to West Greene, one last question that I always ask at the end of every interview also, you go into the game, I always ask you which 3 keys are to the game. What are they this week when you play West Greene at home?
Same as last week. We got to control the line of scrimmage, we got to be cleaner on both sides of the ball, particularly scheme-wise. We got to be cleaner. We had too many busts last week, and you play a team like Grainger, and a bust costs you. So we got to be cleaner. We got to control the line of scrimmage, and then we got to make sure that we tackle better. We were in position a lot of times against Grainger, and several times came down and really thumped guys, but we don't wrap up, we don't run our feet, and we just slide off a tackle and turn a 4-yard play into a 12-yard play, and that gets you hurt, down the road. So we can do those 2 and tackle well, clean, both scheme-wise and in terms of putting the ball on the ground and control the line of scrimmage, we'll be in good shape.
I think that about wraps it all up. One question, I didn't ask this last week either. I know I mentioned it the first week, the watch. Is it still on?
Oh, not today. It's not game
different
day.
one.
But that's definitely my game day watch, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
What kind of, is it I
don't know. Yellow one. It's kind of my wife bought. I don't know.
Yeah, it's slipping my mind right now. It looked like a certain brand, and that's what I was going to ask about. But nonetheless, it fits. I love it.
That's right. Yeah, it looks good.
It does. It does look good.
She keeps me in check. Keeps me right.
Well, it looks good. Shout out to her.
That's right.
But, Coach, I think that's all I've got for you this week. Once again, pleasure talking to you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for sitting down and giving me your time on Labor Day also. Go chill, relax, and have a great rest of the day.
You too, man. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show. Look forward to seeing you next week here in Lower Afton on Grassroots Media.